Welcome to the Raw and Real of Real Estate podcast, powered by LPT Realty, Real Estate Reimagined, with your host, the one and only Betsy Tinnervin. On this podcast, we bring you people who share their personal journeys in life, business, and of course, real estate. Get motivated, inspired, and priceless information from entrepreneurs, community leaders, and realtors who are thriving. Now let's get raw and real. Here's Betsy.
Welcome back to the LPT All-Star Radio Show. I am your host, Betsy Tinnervin, with LPT Realty and the Tampa Bay Investments team. Huge shout out to LPT Realty and Robert Palmer for making this show possible. We again bring you the raw and real of life, business, and of course, real estate. Huge squad in the studio today, rocking all blue and orange, which how great is that? That is about to be Super Bowl weekend. And we have these three awesome gentlemen in my studio today. We have two graduates from the University of Florida Gators, Mr. Brett Lindbeck and Sean Weatherington, both LPT agents. What's going on, boys?
Not too much, Betsy. How are you?
Good.
Thanks for having me, Betsy.
And I love having you guys on the show. You're both so well-spoken, great, authentic, just talented, educated LPT agents. But today we're here to talk about the Gators.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.
And Brett, what year did you graduate?
2019.
Yeah, you're like
Recent.
my child, pretty much. Okay, cool. And Sean?
A class of 1994.
And Sean is about to be a senior citizen. So look at that. Look at that distance that we got here. We got the 50 and older and the young buck in the house, but they are both Gators. And both of you are very proud to be Gators. Sean, why are you proud to be a Gator?
I bleed orange and blue. The University of Florida is just it's an amazing institution. I love it.
Awesome. And Mr. Brett Lindbeck.
I second that. Gainesville is a really special place. If you've lived there, you know what I'm talking about. And like Sean said, we bleed our orange and blue.
And I've known that about you guys. So I threw out this Facebook post because we have a special guest in the house. Can you guys believe that we have this guy in person?
No.
I'm stoked.
We have Chris Doering. If you don't know who he is, which honestly I didn't for a very long time, but I have now studied his entire life history. Chris Doering right now actually is a studio analyst for the SEC and ESPN. But if you don't know, now you know. He is actually a graduate of the University of Florida. He set major records, played 10 years in the NFL on 5 different teams. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing well. And Betsy, I was nervous because you said we got 2 graduates of the University of Florida. I wasn't sure. I got my diploma as well. So 3 total graduates. I didn't just go to school there. I actually graduated as well.
Oh, okay.
Proud telecommunications graduate there, College of Journalism.
So we had to put you in a different category, though.
Okay.
So, we know that you graduated.
Thank you.
Prior to getting drafted to the NFL.
Yeah.
So today, what we really want to talk about today with all 3 of you guys, and I want to go through some amazing things. What's crazy about some of these athletes is just kind of who they are as people. And I've had the honor to really take some time to study Chris. And I was going to go through some of these stats, Chris, that are actually pretty great. He actually graduated in the top 10% of his class in high school, earning all-state honors in football, basketball, and baseball. Then he continued on to the University of Florida, where he did, in fact, get a diploma, which he uses now. And the cool thing about him and why we've kind of bled him in with the Gator graduates that are LPT agents is for the last 16 years, he has owned Chris Doering Mortgage. So that is why he's involved in our show today. But what we're going to talk about today is picking a word for the year. So I actually picked a word for the year, and my word is believer. I feel like New Year's resolutions kind of are off and on. So I really feel like Chris's story kind of goes through believing in a process, trusting a process, and just believing in himself as a person. So when I thought about my word and I thought about doing the show with all of you guys, that's kind of the focus of the show of today. I think, Chris, your journey was just so up and down, and you believed in that process. And I feel like Brett and Sean, the real estate market is so up and down, and we have believed in that process. So that is going to be the topic of the day. And Chris, I really want to kick off to you the moment of not getting the scholarship. Like,
yeah, the word that I would use that goes along with that, and I think I've talked to you about it before, is faith. Faith is one of the most powerful forces in the universe, and the ability to believe in something that we have no proof actually exists is something that is very difficult for a lot of people. For me, you asked those guys about the University of Florida. For me, I grew up in Gainesville, the son of 2 Florida graduates. My father was a professor in the College of Pharmacy at the University of Florida. Gator athletics, the University of Florida in general, just meant everything to me. And from the time I was 5 years old, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to run out of that tunnel to here come the Gators. I wanted to put the orange and blue on. I wanted to be able to play for the school that I loved so much. I watched so many players come in before me that I wanted to be like. Chris Collinsworth was my hero growing up. I went to not only football games, but basketball, baseball, gymnastics meets. Everything that was related to Florida athletics was very important to me. And so I just, for whatever reason, had this faith that I was going to play football for the Gators and play in the NFL. And I knew it. It was not something that I hoped. I knew it was going to happen. The funny thing about it was just a very different path than what I expected. And I think that's a great microcosm for life in general. How many times do we think we have this goal that we want to accomplish, but the path ends up being so much different. And in the end, we look back and we're like, wow, I'm so glad it worked out that way, because it was much better and much more gratifying with the path I was forced to take than the one I thought I was going to take.
So take yourself back to that just initial moment when those coaches just decided against giving you that scholarship.
Well, it's not that moment really. What it is you talked about the accolades. I thought I had a tremendous senior year. I told you and Jen at dinner that I think I had the greatest high school senior year in the history of high school senior years. All state in football, all state in basketball, all state in baseball. We won the state basketball tournament, and I was MVP of the state basketball tournament. And I was Sky Masterson in the musical theater production of Guys and Dolls. So I got to do it all. Performance was in my blood. Unfortunately, not only did the University of Florida coaches not think I was worthy of getting a scholarship, there was not another single university in this country that thought I was worthy of getting a scholarship. The great part about that, though, Betsy, was that it was a blessing in disguise. Had I gotten a scholarship offer to Wake Forest or to, some other school, I would have taken it, but it wouldn't have meant as much to me. Playing for Florida meant so much to me, and I think that's why I worked as hard to achieve it. And I think that's why I continued to work after getting some success, getting the scholarship, scoring touchdowns, because I knew there's another wave of guys coming to take it. And I think that's something in life that it's easy. Human nature wants you to relax when you have success, become complacent. I was never going to become complacent because I sacrificed so much to get to there. And
so, Brett, you're a Gator, right? So When you walked in here and you saw Chris Doering, take me through that.
Oh, man. Well, at first I was like, man, this guy looks familiar.
Yeah, Brett doesn't know anything about my football. He sees me on TV. My 15 minutes of fame has been extended.
See, I was 2015 to 2019, but I was always a Gator fan. So, of course, we knew Chris. And, I mean, hearing your story to me is awesome because, and we mentioned faith and belief, and that's cool. I feel like a lot of athletes, me being an athlete, not near the level you were, but played high school football, baseball, and basketball, is kind of that same. You have to have this faith and belief in yourself. Mm-hmm. And even sometimes, like you said, you just knew it. You knew it was going to happen one way or the other. And really, I love sports because it translates to life. And that's, where we're at.
And not to interrupt, but I love team sports. Yeah. I love football specifically because it's a great vehicle for teaching kids about life. The idea of all doing your job, 11 people doing their job independently to make the one unit successful, the opportunity to dust yourself off after you get knocked down, being able to set goals. I mean, so many things that translate to success after. And I think that's why you see so many businesses recruit former athletes and football players, because they have that mentality and they understand the sacrifice and the goal setting and the determination and perseverance it takes to be successful in the business world.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter where you came from or what happened before. We all got to strap up and play on the field right then and there.
And Sean, for you, Mr. Gator. So when you found out that we would be actually working as a real estate team with Chris Doering Mortgage, I know that you still follow the school, still follow the sports. How did you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I felt very privileged, number one, but just to piggyback off of what Chris was talking about, it's one thing to have faith. It's another thing to put in the work. So not only did Chris walk on, but he also put in the work day in, day out to achieve that success. It wasn't just handed to him, so, God bless for doing that. But when I heard that we were going to be working with Chris Doering, Betsy just said to me, she goes, "We're working with this guy named Chris Doering, And I'm like, wait, what? Like it was like yes, I know him. He played football. I was privileged to watch Chris play. I mean, huge Steve Spurrier fan. He really turned the tide at the University of Florida at the time, and Chris was part of that process. So yeah, I was very excited. I knew at some point in time we would meet. It's nice when I did meet, Coach Spurrier a few years back, but meeting Chris is nice too.
Let me say this, Betts. Sean was one of the first LPT agents that I talked to on the phone when we started to connect. And he mentioned right at the bat being there at the same time. And it was such a special era of Florida football. The history of Florida football had very little success prior to Coach Spurrier being there. And no official SEC championships, no national championships, certainly. And what we were able to do in the early to mid-'90s to lay the groundwork for that 96 national championship. I have 4 SEC championship rings at home. Very proud of all of that. And everything that I owe, outside of my parents, the most influential people in my life was Coach Spurrier. What he did for me in my career and the things we talked about, Brett, like teaching things that have translated to success after my career all go back to Coach Spurrier. So I owe him a lot, and I have a lot of respect for him.
Well, you guys can't give up all of the tips and tricks. Like, we're only in segment 1.
You just want to show off that you did all this research. That's what it is.
You can't give it all away. Like, we got to take a commercial break. So we're going to get everyone's contact information to you guys after the break. You are not going to want to miss segment 2. Segment 2, I'm actually going to give these guys a quiz on how well do they know the Gators, since they quiz everyone else. You're not going to want to miss the tips and tricks that Chris gives today, just kind of on perseverance, hard work, and of course faith and belief in his story, as well as Sean and Brett, seasoned LPT agents. We're going to take a commercial break and we will be right back.
The best comp plans ever and stock and revenue share, but if we're not closing real estate transactions, all of that is worthless, because ultimately everything starts with a real estate transaction, which starts with a consumer. And so we wanted to arm our agents with the absolute best technology and best marketing tools to do more real estate. And that's, again, I think a big differentiator. I think very few brokerages really sit down and say, how do we provide tools to make sure that our agents can be more productive, sell more real estate, win more listings, win at more listing appointments, help more buyers find that home. And we're very focused on that. And so while we have the best comp plans and the best ways for agents to generate wealth and earn, we also have the best tools, and more importantly, I would say have the best tools to help you be successful in real estate.
Welcome back to the LPT All-Star Radio Show. I am your host, Betsy Tinnervin. Proud to rock a Gator shirt today. As all my friends know, I'm not really a huge football fan, but today, having it flow into the weekend of being the Super Bowl, we have some amazing guests in the studio today in the real estate mortgage realm. They also happen to be all the University of Florida Gator graduates, as well as a football player for the Gators. Everyone knows him. Chris Doering played in the NFL after Gainesville football, and we're so glad to have them here today. But we are going to give the boys a pop quiz, and we're going to see who knows Gator stats more.
Am I eligible, or just those two?
All 3 of you.
You're the favorite here.
Oh, no. All 3 of you guys. All right, so how this is going to go, I'm going to give you a question, and then we're going to go around the room. Everyone gets to answer. I'll write down the answers. I obviously know the answers because I studied till midnight last night since I knew nothing about football. Question number 1, how many Hall of Famers does the Florida Gators have? Go, Sean. 2 seconds. Give me an answer. 12. Brett.
NFL Hall of Famers?
College Hall of Fame.
No, hold on now.
College Hall of Fame.
College Hall of Fame. All right.
Our boy Tebow just got in, man. I'm gonna say 17.
Chris?
Oh man, I'm gonna say a little bit less than that. I'm gonna go 15.
Okay, now I just want everyone to know, and Eddie Parnell's in the house today as well, that none of them are correct. And we have ESPN SEC Sportscaster. I just wanted to win this challenge today. It's actually 9. 9 Gators inducted in the College Hall of Fame. So that's a big F for question number 1. Awesome. Let's move to question number 2.
Hey, Price is Right rules.
And I said Gators. I didn't say the university. So next question is, what is the biggest Gator ever caught in Florida? You can give me feet or in length, or you can give me pounds. Sean, go.
I'm going to go 17 feet.
Okay, no pounds? All right, Brett.
I'm going to go 18 feet, 537 pounds.
And Mr. Chris Doering.
I'm going to go closer to Sean. I'm going to say 17 feet, 4 inches, and 432 pounds.
Again, I hope my boy Eddie is taking notes. They are all extremely wrong. Biggest gator caught was 1,043 pounds, 13 feet, 10 and a half inches.
13 feet? That sounds...
Oh, it's a fat boy.
Yeah, 13 feet. A little fatty.
Jeez.
Yeah. All right, question number 3. Over 400 Florida Gators have been drafted to the NFL. One in my studio today being Chris Doering, who was the 6th draft pick for the Jaguars.
Sixth round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So how many of them made it to the Pro Bowl?
This year's Pro Bowl?
No, just in general. Ever. So there's 400. They got drafted to the NFL. How many made it to the Pro Bowl?
36.
Okay, Brett?
62.
Mr. Chris Doering.
I'm going to say 75.
He should know this. Somebody call ESPN. It is 29.
29,
kids.
that's all?
29.
29
made it to the Pro Bowl, and 2 made it to the Pro Bowl Hall of Fame. Oh,
Who are
know.
those?
I know all the people now.
Who are the Pro Bowl Hall of Famers?
Couldn't tell you. I just know there's 2 of them.
She literally said, I know all the people.
I know all the people
and then
now.
didn't know.
All right, last question. Currently, what are the Florida Gators ranked, Sean?
In what sport are we talking?
Football.
Season's over.
Yeah, it's...
I just looked this up last night.
They're
What
talking
were
about
they ranked?
preseason ranking coming up, or where they finished in last season?
I'm just telling you. What do you think it is?
I don't know.
That's...
Well, the preseason rank next year, I would say outside the top 25. There's
Okay,
no way
well,
they're
I'll
in the
just
top.
give you the answer since you guys clearly are just uneducated. It's just outside the 25, ranked 27th in the nation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I was right about that.
Okay, so can I get a little credit?
Yeah.
Can I get a little credit for these
You
questions?
did research.
I think this has been fun.
She was like, "You guys were all wrong. I'm right." Of course you're right. You looked it all up. Like,
Well, listen, you're on ESPN. You're in the SEC.
I have a
Okay,
researcher
Betsy,
that gives
let's
me all
turn the
that.
table here. How many football national championships has the University of Florida won?
Okay, 10.
I wish,
That would
but
be great.
Only 3.
I was gonna say 3. Ooh.
What
Okay,
were the
well,
years?
You're out of your mind now, dude. You're out of your mind. All right, so this is awesome. I just love kind of throwing out stats, doing new research about different things. What's really cool is, honestly, I've been a big basketball fan. All of you guys know that. Big college basketball fan, huge University of Illinois fan.
Oh, yeah.
You guys know I fly to the games. I've flown with the players on the plane. I was there at MJ's son plane. He wasn't great, but it was a really cool time. Sat with him at some games. But I've never gotten into football, and I think what's really cool about this situation is when I called Sean, I honestly knew nothing about Chris Doering, but I got to know him as a person. So what I really want to talk about in business today and in the real estate market today is why get into mortgage, Chris? Why pick that career? I think it's important that we talk about life, business, and real estate on this show. And for someone to go from being in the NFL, being in the spotlight, kind of having all of those directional things given to you, picking mortgage, which is such an up and down industry. Why mortgage?
Well, sometimes I ask myself why, and that's been kind of the question of the last 6 to 8 months that I've been asking. But we go back to what we talked about before. I mean, we absolutely had a tremendous 2020 and 2021. Things started to slow down in the middle of 2022. But, I just got back to when I jumped in the business initially. That was in 2007. We made the decision, opened in April of 2007, about the time everything was crumbling in the real estate market and the mortgage industry was imploding. But it was the contrarian point of view. It was the belief in what we were doing was the right thing to set us up for success down the road. And while it was very difficult in the midst of it, I think coming out the other side, learning the business at a time when everybody else had been doing the stated income, no doc, the easy stuff that got everybody in trouble. We did things very vanilla and just learned and put our heads down and went to work. And I think it's benefited us for a long time now. And a lot of times people ask folks that I work with, like, you ever see Chris? And they say, yeah, Chris is in the office every single day. When I'm not in the studio in Charlotte, when I'm not doing stuff for my broadcasting career, I am in the office every single day, taking phone calls like I talked to Sean about. And I'm very passionate about what we're doing because I believe that there's the ability to do well financially while also doing good for others. And I think that's one thing that I talk to my team a lot about is how do we find fulfillment in what we do? In the real estate world, it's very transactional by nature. Close one, move on to the next. Well, what is the deeper purpose in what we do? Well, for me, it's helping first-time home buyers get into a house in a very scary, kind of challenging new avenue of their life. It's refinancing somebody whose payment's high and they're having a hard time making and being able to help help it be more manageable for them. I find a lot of joy in what we do, and particularly in this industry where there's a lot of folks that are trying to get over on people that aren't dealing with them authentically and transparently. And I think we do a good job of providing a great service and also providing great education and communication along the way.
Well, I definitely can attest that I definitely did not have any idea who you were when you called me. And I actually, the first time
that's better though, right?
It's, it's so great. It's so great. And I had in my notes, which is funny that you just commented that the first time that I talked to you was about a lead, and it was about 9:30 p.m. You were actually in Vegas. And that was a different Chris Doering that I met then. No, honestly, Chris was super professional, really great. And then I got a text from you the other night, and just so everyone understands, Chris is a sports analyst, and he literally gets on a plane every single weekend. So he's traveling, and like 2 days ago, he was literally texting me at 10 p.m. because he's going through his leads, making sure that everyone gets touched. So I definitely can say that I know there's a lot of people that you legitimately were famous. I mean, everyone understands that. Like, it's not like these guys are bleeding Gator, and I get that, but you played in the NFL, you had an extreme career. Now you are a normal person running a business, and you're really treating people with respect, kindness, and care. And I can attest to that because I had no idea who you were. So I wanted to say that today throughout all the stats and the jokes and all the things. I wanted to really let that be known.
Thank you.
So segment 3, we're going to talk a lot about education. And I think what's really cool that's coming to Tampa, and Brett, I definitely want you to be a part of it. And Sean, you kind of have already plugged into it, but I really want you guys to talk to Chris a little bit about what we're going to do education-wise, because I think doing first-time homebuyer classes and getting people together, bringing buyers in that want to participate in that, we want to bring them into that. So Sean, why don't you give everyone your phone number if they're looking for an LPT agent to connect with in Tampa Bay?
386-848-7241.
And Brett Lindback, my guy, funny, great, charismatic. Love to have you on the show today and be a part of this process with Chris. Give him your phone number.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's 813-410-1956.
And Chris, since I know everything about your life, I do know that your website is mygatormortgage.com.
There you go.
So if you're looking for a loan, if you're looking to connect with Chris Doering Mortgage, you can always go to mygatormortgage.com. But Chris, give them a phone number they could contact.
Yeah, the office is 352-244-0840. We're licensed throughout the state of Florida, whether we're trying to do something down in Key West all the way up into Pensacola and anywhere in between, we can help you out. And as we expand into other markets in the state, we're looking forward to getting some local numbers in these markets as well.
That's awesome. When we return, we're definitely going to talk about education, why it's important, and we're going to really focus on relationship-based sales. So why it's important to build relationships with your customer base, get to know people, and how we're going to partner with Doering Mortgage to do that in the Tampa Bay community. We'll make sure that you can reach out to us and attend some of these events. We have a feeling that they are going to fill up extremely fast. We are going to limit seats to 50 only. So if you want to connect and get information from me, it is 813-609-0229. We're going to pay some bills, and we'll see you after the break.
Biggest win, I think, with the dual path and having these two models is that now we become a brokerage for everyone. No matter where you are in your real estate career, what your goals are today, maybe today you're not interested in recruiting or having a team, but then one day you wake up and you are. Well, if you're at the wrong brokerage to do that, you're locked in. Where in our model, we're not holding anyone hostage. We're not tying anyone in. You can move between the different comp plans and have that success and really achieve whatever your definition of success is under one brokerage platform, being LPT.
Welcome back to the LPT All-Star Radio Show. I am your host, Betsy Tinervin, with LPT Realty and the Tampa Bay Investments team. Now partnered with the one and only Jen Spinelli. Have to throw that out there as she's in the studio today as well. Love that our teams have merged in the Tampa Bay area. Again, we're doing a ton of free classes for all LPT agents and realtors in the community. So excited about that. Thank you to LPT Realty and Mr. Robert Palmer for making this show possible. We love being the catalyst and connector in the Tampa Bay community. Have some amazing people with me today. Brett Lindback, familiar voice and face for everyone on Facebook. He is an LPT agent, just a joy to be around, super educated, and of course a Gator. And Sean Weatherington, been on my team for a very long time. I've got to know Sean. We've been through so many ups and downs. And of course, Mr. Chris Doering, who again is a graduate. he wants me to state. He is
Yeah.
not just a football player. He graduated. He has a certificate. And he is in the house today. Not only did he have an amazing career as a Gator, graduated, his family has roots there. He's originally from Gainesville. Obviously went on to play in the NFL, and he now has a company, Chris Doering Mortgage. He's been doing it for 16 years. Super excited to get him plugged in Tampa. So, Sean, I'm going to turn to you first. We're definitely going to talk about why relationship-based sales and education is important. And you have like a real estate degree.
Yes,
and I
ma'am.
want to talk about that. When we first met, you recruited me to EXP. You joined my team, and I will never forget when we had this conversation. I'm standing outside a house, and you call me. What's up, B? I need help like converting the sale. And I go, hey, Sean, did you mention to the client that you have a degree in real estate? Like, you actually are more educated in the field than I am. And you've always just been this humble guy, never really gloated about your success or your education. But not only do you have 30 years in the hospitality industry, but you have a real estate degree. So why get that degree from the University of Florida?
Well, it's the best university in the country, number one. But, you know, I've always had a passion for real estate because my family, I'm also a Florida native, and my family, you know, I'm from Miami, so we had a lot of real estate holdings down there and Lakewood Ranch and things like that. So I always had a passion for the industry, you know, but when I graduated the University of Florida, I was in hospitality, and I started to get some pretty good traction, some success in hospitality. And one thing I loved about that industry is it recreates itself, and it's all systems based, and it's very much learning how to take care of customers. So when I decided to come back into real estate, that was the focus that I took. I actually was looking at a lot of realtors that were out there that were not putting their customers first, and like Chris alluded to, is very transactional, you know. So I came back to kind of change that image, and that is always what kind of separates me from other people. Is, you know, I listen to what my clients want, and I try to exceed their expectations. So I merge a little bit of hospitality with a lot of real estate, and it's just a great industry to be in.
Betsy, let me add something about Sean.
Of course, Chris.
Yeah, I'm going to take over here for a second. So
No problem.
You mentioned how humble he is, and being humble is a great characteristic to have. And I think sometimes it's embarrassing to tell people our qualifications and our achievements. But in this industry, it's important that we communicate why we're the best at what we do and why you should work with us. Because I honestly believe people that don't work with us, we're doing them a disservice, because we would do the best job for them. We're the most qualified. We have the best vehicle for having them be successful. And so I think that's something I've had to shift my mindset a little bit, is put myself out there a little bit more on why I'm qualified to do this, why we're the best fit for you as a client. And it goes back to kind of what you talked about, providing that education further solidifies that.
Well, actually, your question, Chris, was going to be, what is most important to you when educating your team on providing good customer service? Because what I really believe is that leadership starts at the top. So you know from playing football that it's not always the person with the most talent, it's the person that's the most coachable. Because when you're coachable and you're moldable, then you can provide good customer service. So now you've gone from being coachable to being the coach. Like, you're the captain of the team.
Yeah.
So what's important that you instill in these people when dealing with people's financials and making these decisions?
Yeah.
What's the most important part?
Well, first and foremost, it's probably the most stressful anybody will ever be, because it's the most money that most people will ever deal with in their life. And so there's some inherent anxiety that you have to, address. And everybody I talk to is like, hey, we're going to educate you every step along the way. And that's one thing that I talk to my team an awful lot about, is communication, the importance of educating, the importance of letting people know what the next steps are and making sure that they're prepared for that. But I go back to, we went through and had this exercise probably 10 years ago or so, and we created our core values and what those things are that we want to stand for. And anything that ever goes awry of that, we go back to what we're all about at the core. And I think that authentic communication, honest communication, telling people what they need to hear instead of what they want to hear is an important part of that. And so I think we're all very well aligned in what it means to work at Chris Doering Mortgage and what we stand for as a group.
Well, I love the factor that everything still also surrounds by being a Gator. mygatormortgage.com. Your email is very similar. And it also on your website talks about like, who is Chris Doering, and it says you're the captain of the team. And I love that. I think that everyone that I've also spoken to on your team, you have truly created a team environment. And I think that's why I'm so excited of this partnership in Tampa, because when you bring teams to like unite together and you have just excellent leaders, it just is an unstoppable
like
process.
you and Jen, like sitting down and having dinner with you and Jen and seeing the kind of people people you are and the leaders you are and the complementary skill sets that you guys have for one another. I mean, everything that I go back to in building a team in the business world relates to the world of athletics and how you get different people that complement one another to fill holes, to work united in an effort to achieve common goals is something that's very difficult for a lot of people to be able to put together. But I sit in this room and I feel the energy that the team that you guys have and how much you really care and just the warmth of the room. And it's authentic. I don't think that's something you can fake.
Yeah, and I think that is where I kind of also wanted to turn to you, Brett. I think that what's so crazy to me is, I'm originally from Illinois, and Florida is such a melting pot.
Yeah.
Really in reality, it's crazy to have Florida natives all sitting like at a table and everyone being Gators, because I feel like Florida is this melting pot. We have people from Chicago, New York, and Atlanta. And so back home in Illinois, like Midwest people, we're rough, man. We are tough. We are stick together. Like we are mafia status. But I feel like what's really cool for me to see that I've learned about this whole Gator thing is Gators are like really loyal to each other.
It's family.
Like it is like a thing.
Yeah.
So why for you, Brett, is like that so important? Like, how do you exhibit that same loyalty that you had for your Gator family into real estate, into your business? Like, why is that important to you?
Well, touching on that, I think the reason why we're very close at the University of Florida is our culture and our values and the kind of standard that we hold each other to as a collective community, that the standard of excellence and trying to better ourselves. And that's really the culture. And we have this saying as Gators, it's in our fight song. It says, in all kinds of weather, we'll all stick together for FLORDA. So that's who we are. And it's cool because I got to experience school there. Myself graduated, my brother and my sister actually is there right now going to graduate. So it's a Gator family, and it's that standard. And I think I was blessed to be able to go there because I just translate that into our team culture as, as a part of the team and building. And it's that family culture of you take care of your family to take care of others. You have to take care of yourself first to be able to spread that love and that ability to really, because if you're really not doing this to put somebody in a better spot, to like be somebody that's the fulfillment aspect of it, helping somebody out get into a new home, and everybody's, it's a win-win for everybody, then
I literally got goosebumps because I swear you can look at my paper. I literally had, for your specific question, Brett, why Gators stick together, and then you just shouted off some.
That's why. It's literally
no. But listen, it's so weird how well I get to like know you guys, and I know that loyalty just means so much to you, and I'm just honored to know you. Sean, if you could give your digits out if everyone's looking for an LPT agent, Gator, Florida native, someone that holds a real estate degree.
I mean, we'll help Florida State people too, right? I mean, it's not just Florida people.
You guys, just one day out of the year, or a few days out of the year.
Yeah. You want to give your number out, Sean?
386-848-7241.
And Mr. Brett Lindbeck.
813-410-1956.
And if you are looking for Chris Doering Mortgage, you can go to mygatormortgage.com. But what is that office number, Chris?
352-244-0840.
And to all of our listeners out there, you are not going to want to miss segment 4 as we wrap this show up. We are going to throw out some of the classes that we are going to be teaching in the local Tampa Bay area. One, definitely diving deep into investment analysis. Sean Weatherington's going to talk about that, whether you're a real estate flipper or you're someone that actually wants to tour current real estate projects that we have going on. Jen Spinelli, myself, Sean Weatherington are going to be involved in that. Chris Doering can also talk to you about DSCR loan products for all you investors out there wanting to maybe buy your first investment property. We are going to teach classes on also how to do some house hacking, where you can buy yourself a duplex, live in one side, have it pay for itself, and rent out the other. They're going to be amazing. We're also going to give back to all of the people that just want to be educated on purchasing real estate, period. So if you need assistance with your credit, if you want to know what it's like to buy your first piece of property as a first-time home buyer, maybe you're not ready today. We're going to do multiple classes throughout the year this year because we are rebranding ourselves. We are being believers, and we want to have you trust us in the process of mortgage real estate. We know that it's a scary, kind of just uncertain market and time right now. However, we want to get you reassured and help you with all of those things. So plug back in. We're going to return after the break.
The best comp plans ever in stock and revenue share, but if we're not closing real estate transactions, all of that is worthless, because ultimately everything starts with a real estate transaction, which starts with a consumer. And so we wanted to arm our agents with the absolute best technology and best marketing tools to do more real estate. And that's, again, I think a big differentiator. I think very few brokerages really sit down and say, how do we provide tools to make sure that our agents can be more productive, sell more real estate, win more listings, win at more listing appointments, help more buyers find that home. And we're very focused on that. And so while we have the best comp plans and the best ways for agents to generate wealth and earn, we also have the best tools, and more importantly, I would say have the best tools to help you be successful in real estate.
Welcome back to the LPT All-Star Radio Show. I am your host, Betsy Tinnervin. I've loved to have all of the listeners get all of the priceless gems that we have dropped today. Obviously, thank you to LPT Realty, Robert Palmer, for making this happen. We love bringing you the raw and real of life, business, and of course, real estate. Today, Sean Weatherington with the Tampa Bay Investments team in the house with his one and only other trusted half, Brett Lindbeck. I believe you guys have actually been on the show together before. Brett, you're an LPT agent as well. So glad to have you guys here representing the real estate side. And then Chris Doering with Chris Doering Mortgage. Obviously, he's representing a whole bunch of sides here. Like, I feel like I should have brought a football today. I could have tested his skills a little bit as I throw it to him. But Chris Doering has been in the mortgage industry 16 years. So awesome to have announced that he is going to be coming to the Tampa St. Pete area, all the way from Gainesville, of grounding his feet in the Tampa Bay area in the mortgage industry. We are so awesome to announce that we are truly having a partnership with him. We want other LPT agents to plug in. They are offering amazing things in the mortgage industry for all of our first-time home buyers, anyone that wants traditional loans, jumbo loan products, as well as some investor loan products. Segment 4, we want to leave you guys with some tangible things that you can do. We really talked a lot in the beginning of trusting the process and kind of just really seeing the end at the beginning. And I think that Chris's journey, for me, that describes the entire thing. Like, when you can see the end game at the beginning, you become truly educated. You can implement faith because you know like what's going to happen. So I want to start with you, Sean. Why trust investing in the Tampa Bay market? I know that that is your niche focus. And I know that right now through these rocky times, we still truly believe that it's an apex market where the prices of rents are rising as well as the prices of homes are rising, which for everyone out there, we were that before it became a seller's market because we are technically the #1 metro market in the country. So why trust investing right now and trust that process when we are kind of in uncertain times, Sean?
Well, I hear a lot of people that are concerned about the industry as a whole, but Florida has always been based upon supply and demand, and everybody still wants to move to the state of Florida. Tampa has always been an apex market, and it still is an apex market. So, investing in real estate, we always say on our team, it's the sexiest asset in America. It's probably one of the smartest investment moves that you can make. And that's really where I found my niche in real estate, is helping people develop income producing portfolios of assets and growing from smaller to larger portfolios and teaching people how easy it is to really make money in real estate.
I love it. And also when you really get an expert in the investment space that not only is a real estate agent, but also invest themselves. Jen Spinelli and I, as well as Sean Weatherington, all invest personally in real estate. We work on the development side. So not only do we train our agents with pristine education and training on how to evaluate cash on cash return and just understanding leveraging debt as well as tax in the investment space, you just cannot lose by working with someone like Sean Weatherington. Brett Lindbeck. So I always throw something tough at you and you catch it and receive it and just do a great job every single time. So right now you see a lot of people leaving the real estate industry. They are leaving the mortgage industry. They're leaving the real estate industry. COVID weeded out tons of amateurs. And I feel like in today's recession, which is what we are in, you can only fight inflation with inflation. That is happening. Why are you in it to win it? Why are you trusting the process in the real estate career? And why have you not left?
Yeah, going back to the very beginning of what we brought up, your word for the year, the belief and the faith in myself that I really can help people and create magical, amazing experiences in real estate. And in mortgage side, the refi industry is going to be pretty good here probably in a few years. So no reason to get out. And bottom line, I'm here in the state of Florida. Real estate here is not going anywhere. It is fantastic. So it's really about putting yourself around people who, like Betsy Tenirvin here, like Sean, Chris Doering, that are doing well in real estate, plugging in, learning, being a part of the team, and you'll be fine.
I love that. I love that, Brett.
Yeah.
Chris Doering. So basically, I know that we had lots of laughs and talks about this because it is truly an honor to be with someone in the studio that does have so much radio time, so much studio time. People don't understand that it is a challenge to be on the radio. It is a challenge to literally mentally drain yourself, and it is like performing every single day. So as I did all of my research for today, I wanted to make sure that I did showcase you in not only appropriate but a professional fashion. And so with 10 years in the NFL, 5 teams, now you're a sports analyst with the SEC and ESPN, you're on the road every weekend, you're still answering your phone. How do you see the end of the beginning? Like, you keep showing this amazing work ethic, and your drive is not the end zone anymore. It's not being out there catching a football. It's a different type of drive. And when you have that adrenaline rush, being out on the football field for so long, it's different, right? So what's the motivation now?
Well, it's hard to give up what you've dreamt about doing for your whole life when it's over with. I think there's a lot of professional athletes or athletes at any level that struggle trying to figure out what the next steps are. So I kind of wandered around a little bit, doing some local radio, trying to figure out what it was. Never wanted to commit to the coaching side because of the time away from the family and the unsettled life that coaches live. So getting into the broadcasting world was the next best thing for me. And fortunately, I have 2 things that are very opposite ends of the spectrum. I got the mortgage company that's been great for me for the last 16 years that affords me the opportunity to go do my stuff for ESPN, the SEC Network, and SiriusXM. So I want to continue to grow. I'm motivated by money, but money is only a scorekeeper, right? It's just a way to quantify the work you've been doing. What I'm really motivated by is helping other people. And right now is a great opportunity. These guys were talking about it. Like, you look in the market, the people that are out there that are active right now, first-time home buyers that don't need to sell their homes, and those that are looking to invest that are also not looking to sell. And you look at some of the stabilization and even reduction of prices in the state over the last 6 months. Now's the time. People want to wait till the rates get lower. We're looking people buy right now, and we'll also go back and refinance for you, cover all the lender-related costs when those inevitable rates fall back to a more normalized market. And so I think it's a great opportunity that people don't want to wait around to the spring. Don't wait. Right now is the time to get out there and take advantage of the market.
And now everybody wants to know, right? Because you're this Gainesville guy, you're this Gator guy. So there might be some hesitancy here in Tampa Bay, right? Because Tampa Bay, we are kind of like the new Miami here, man. So like, you're coming in our hood, you're coming in our space. So what do you have to say to everyone listening in Tampa Bay here?
I've been coming to Tampa for a long time.
Oh, here he goes, guys. Here he goes. I'm just kidding.
I got a bunch of friends, but as we talked about, there's a lot of Gators here. But I'm proud of the state of Florida. Like, I go back to my days in the mid 90s when Florida State and Miami were all in the top 5 in the rankings. And hopefully we'll get back to that point in time. I talked to Mike Norvell last week at the Senior Bowl about what they're doing. Florida State's on the rise. Florida under Billy Napier's on the rise. You look at Mario Cristobal down in Miami, what they're doing, the rise of USF and UCF. There's a lot to be proud of. I'm very proud of the state of football, the state of Florida. But in all honesty, it's all love here. And whether you're a Florida State Seminole, whether you're a Miami Hurricane, whether you're from out of state, I honestly believe that we do a great job for our clients and want to make sure that folks are taken care of by true professionals, which I think we are.
And I think what's going to be really great for everyone out there, if you would like to plug in, if you are interested in getting into real estate as an agent or maybe the mortgage industry, as well as purchasing real estate, buying, selling, investing. We're going to be doing some classes middle of March. You can definitely contact one of these guys, Sean or Brett, if you want to plug into those classes. Chris Doering is going to be speaking. And I really feel what makes myself authentic when I'm teaching classes is I do pull in life, business, and real estate into one. So I think what's going to be really cool, Chris, to see you come to Tampa and really talk about that, because I do think that we do need kind of a little bit of a revival as far as the mortgage and real estate industry is concerned, because again, we've had a lot of people and a lot of big hitters leave the industry recently just because they're exhausted and weeded out. I think it's great.
That's great.
Yeah. I think it's awesome.
Thin the herd, survival of the fittest.
Exactly. No, so I think what's going to be awesome about what we're going to do in Tampa is we're really going to bring people in and do these free, like if everyone heard that, free 99, it is free education for you. So Sean, if anyone wants to communicate with you, could you throw out those digits for me?
Yes, ma'am. 386-848-7241.
Brett Lindbeck.
And it's not just any education, it's very good education too. And there's a lot to be proud of in the state of Florida.
Absolutely.
But my phone number is 813-410-1956.
And if you want to contact Chris Doering Mortgage, you can actually go to mygatormortgage.com. And the office number, Chris, is
352-244-0840. And I can honestly say we have Gators, we have Hurricanes, and we have Seminoles in that office. So, if it matters that much to you, we'll make sure we get you to the appropriate person.
I love that. And I'm also really proud that you guys are going to be in Tampa. Thank you guys so much for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you, Betsy.
Great job, Bets. You did a fantastic job. I didn't know you were such a good host. That's awesome.
Thank you. I'm glad I passed.
You did well.
It makes me feel really good to hear that from someone like you. And what's really great, too, I think all good leaders are always a student of the game. So I think, for me, this exercise was really awesome to have someone like truly professional come on the show that does ESPN and does all the things that you do, because I spent hours and hours watching and learning those things. So I appreciate you as well.
Well, can I say this real quick? I don't know what our time out is here real quick, but that's what people do that want to be great at anything. They put the time in to prepare. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. You definitely have shown a great propensity for preparing, and I like that.
I appreciate you. Thank you for everyone for listening, and you will see us next weekend.
Thanks for listening to the Raw and Real of Real Estate podcast, powered by LPT Realty, Real Estate Reimagined. We hope this episode motivated and inspired you. And don't forget to rate and review us. Thanks again for listening to the Raw and Real of Real Estate podcast with Betsy Tinervin.